the North Carolina game, obviously a massive win for you guys. In terms of the performance, what do you sort of take away from that game now moving into Washington?
A game of two halves, and I think that while we kept them from creating some big chances in the first half, we didn't offer enough of a threat in transition, and even when we did build possession, there wasn't as much of a threat, and that was more to do with positioning of players than anything. However, we still had 2 or 3 massive chances in the first half. So yeah, I think there's good points, but there's also lessons. The game changed obviously in the second half, and I think we found something that is effective there, and the way that the energy we had and the pace we had, and the way that we pressed a little bit higher, it snowballed into in possession as well. They had their best chances in the second half. They ripped us open a couple of times there, and the best goalkeeper in the league steps up big time and saves us. So game of two halves, and positives and lessons from the overall performance, and huge result, absolute huge result. And yeah, it's you'd be greedy if we play really well for a couple of games, then we play this wild game, we don't get many points, we get 1 out of the 2 that we dominate, and then with this game that could have gone either way, we get 3. Now you're like, well, what if we did get 3 in one of those others? Things could be better. At the same time, this could have gone the other way very quick. So positives, lessons, but I think confidence is going to be huge coming out of this game for us, snowballing into Washington.
When you look at Washington, they're a team that I think they've conceded close to the fewest goals in the league. Their defense has done well this season. You guys obviously had that game against Houston with 5 goals, but in terms of scoring from the run and play, haven't been able to do that in the last few games. How do you feel about where the attack is right now, and what do you need to do to break down Washington?
I know it's almost been 3 or 4 mini seasons in this season so far. Put all that together, I think 98% we're still the team with the most goals scored. I know we played a game extra, so we've got to be first or second goals scored per 90. And there's games where it's blown open. When we've played Orlando, all the 3 games against Orlando, we've scored and created and should have scored loads. And then there's been games where it's been tougher. So we've got to be balanced. I think we're in a position where we're consistently doing good things to have the opportunity to create the chance or the opportunity to finish the chance. And when we haven't been on, we've lacked one of those 2 things, the pass to create or the finish to score. And we can't make that perfect overnight. We also can't make it terrible overnight. We're going to continue to grow and continue to take small steps. Consistency in the group and the consistency of players in and around the field and training also helps. Washington are probably the most balanced team that we faced. We only faced them once. Probably the most balanced team we faced this year in the 4 phases, in the moments of the game, the way they attack, defend, and transition. The 2 transitions, they have good balance. They do a good job, and they got some great individual talent there that we're going to have to be cautious of.
You talked about the tale of 2 halves in the North Carolina game, and obviously you brought on Rasso and Purse at halftime. They weren't in the starting lineup. Gabby Seiler wasn't in the starting lineup. Was having those players start on the bench more of a fatigue rotation decision, or why did you make that decision?
Well, it was definitely not fatigue in the sense of they're all lining up at the door begging that their bodies are fine and it's the biggest game of the year. And the mental side is too big for players in this club. They're never ever going to be fatigued. For me, we were very similar for obviously for 2 games, and things didn't go our way, and I felt a rotation with the 3rd game in 8 days against a team that had been on 7 or 8, 9 day rest, and it was the highest energy team in the league. I wanted to make a change, and I think the 0.1% of making a change is we think we have great depth. We think that we've got a lot of players, and it's very important that our group knows you might not play for 2 games, 5 games, Simone out the 18, then into starting. It doesn't matter what your role is yesterday, you may have a different role, and you've got to be training at your top level. You've got to be ready to play at your top level, because it's happened before. You might not play for 6 games and then be starting in a semi-final. We needed the group to make sure they know we do have great depth, and now we've proved we've got great depth. And guys, this is real competition. It's going to be hard decisions every week. It's going to be adjustments every week. It's going to be different players every week, trying to produce the same high level performance, trying to produce results.